Hi guys, Assalamu alaikum. It's social study period. Take out your social study books. Today we will read about the world geography. Have you noticed whenever your parents want to visit a new place, what did they do first? Well, they enter the place on Google Map. As soon as they enter the place on Google Map, Google gives them all the information about the place, about how to reach there, where it is located, and which are the nearest landmark. How do you think Google Map does that? That you have entered just some details and you get all important informations. That is because Google has some number inside it. As you have seen, every house has a specific house number which is written on the door. Whenever a postman wants to deliver a letter by that particular number, able to identify the specific house. Similarly, Google Map has told a lot of number for every place. Whenever you mark a place on Google Map, what happens it pulls out a unique number. These numbers are latitude and longitude. Now, before knowing about latitude and longitude, you should know the kinds of map. There are three kinds of map: physical map, political map, and relief map. Physical is a map that shows hill, mountains, rivers, valleys, and other landforms. The next one is political map. It shows towns, cities, and borders between two countries. The next one is relief map. There is a relief map. It shows the height of hills and mountains with the line draws to show the height in meters. Now come to next topic, which is the longitude and latitude. Before studying about longitude and latitude, you should know about Earth. As you know, Earth is a sphere and there are no lines on the planet Earth. We have drawn some imaginary lines on the planet Earth. अगर देखा जाए तो ज़मीन पे कोई भी लाइन नहीं है, लेकिन imaginary lines उस पर लगाई जाती हैं. So that why we draw the imaginary lines? Imaginary lines are drawn to show the rotation of the earth. It shows that the earth rotates its own axis. ये शो करने के लिए कि अर्थ जो है वो अपने एक्सिस के गिर्द घूमती है. Except imaginary lines, there are so many other lines which are drawn on the planet Earth for our convenience. And the most important lines are called equator. Equator is a line which divides the earth into two equal parts. Similarly, there are other lines that are called prime meridians. And prime meridians are also divide the earth into two equal parts. Now, what is the difference between equator and prime meridians? As prime meridians are also divide the earth into two equal parts and equator are also divide the earth into two equal parts, the main difference between equator and prime meridian is that the equator divide the earth horizontally. As the earth is a round ball, so equator divide it horizontally, and prime meridians are the line which divides the earth vertically. That is the main difference between the earth. You should keep in mind, equator divide the earth horizontally and prime meridian divide the earth vertically. So that is the main difference. Prime meridian divide the earth vertically and it gives the western hemisphere and eastern hemisphere, while equator equally divide the earth into southern hemisphere and northern hemisphere. Apart from these two lines, prime meridian and equators, there are some other important lines which are drawn on the earth. So by Taking equator as the base, we have some parallel lines to the equator. Suppose that the equator is a base, and next we draw some parallel lines to the equator, and these lines are called latitudes. They have numbers, as if suppose that the number of equator line is equal to 0, and when you move towards the north pole the number increasing, and suppose that it's 30 degrees, 60 degree and 90 degrees. In southern hemisphere numbers are in negative, minus 30 degree, minus 60 degree and minus 90 degree. If you have any number in negative, it means it in southern hemisphere, and if you have any number in positive, it means it has in northern hemisphere. And lines which are drawn on meridian, these are called longitude. Again, you have to keep in mind the lines which are parallel to equator are called latitudes, and the lines which are parallel or which are drawn on meridians are called longitude. And prime meridian is always equal to 0. And when longitude and latitudes combine, they make a whole grid which cover the entire surface of the earth. Every point on this grid is one location. So whenever you want to locate someone, we actually find this location on the grid where that particular person is placed. Suppose that, look at your map. For example, Karachi is located almost 25 degree in northern and 67 in east. This means it is 25 degree north of the equator and 67 degree east to the prime meridian. Now come to the exercise. Your first question: what information would you find on a physical map and political map? As I have told you that physical map shows mountains, rivers, valleys and other landforms, whereas the political map shows towns, cities and border between the countries. The next one, differentiate between meridians of longitude and parallel of latitude. Here you have to write the difference between longitude and latitude, or difference between equator and meridians. How do we show directions on the map? When we look at the map, we use a cardinal directions. You can write your answer from page 4. The next one is, how can we find a place on a map? You can also consult page 4, a grid. All the lines, longitude and latitude from the grid are shown on the map, and they are the imaginary lines, so you can't accurately see them on the earth's surface. To find the place on the map, we find its grid reference. So it means we can find the place on the map by using the grid reference. Next one, find the Pakistan using the index of the atlas. Write down the page number and coordinates of the or grid the reference. This question will be done in class, so leave it. You have to do first 4 questions.